Just waiting for y'all to jump into the chat. But welcome to True Doug Man Encounters with Marvin Allen and the Doug Pack. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, y'all. Jump in the chat. I see people that's in there, but jump in the chat. Hey, Ward, what's up, my friend? Wait a minute, I'm trying to fix it. Mr. Carlitos Way. Hello, my friend. How you doing? How everybody doing this evening? For the ones that's here already. Hey, Brother Dre. Hey, Mando. Oh, man, I'm great. I'm doing good. You know, it snowed here, but it's all good. Hey, Carlito, call my phone. 443-814-7517. Call my phone now, Carlito. The number in the chat. Call my number, Carlito. Hey, Kay. How you doing? Yeah, I know. We got it, too. A lot of slush, too. Call the phone, Mr. Carlito. 2 feet, Brother Dre? Wow. Where you calling from, Brother Dre, if you don't mind me asking? Oh, I will. Noob the DJ. What's up, my friend? Mr. Carlito, call the number. Because I seen you just tried to call me. Alexander from Scotland. Hello, my friend. Yeah, Noob, you the only moderate on right now. I know Lisa gonna jump on. I know she is. Hey, Nuke, if you get a chance, can you post on the page and let them know we live? I don't know. I don't know if Lisa did it yet. But she might have did. But I don't know. Yeah, It's a lot of stuff going on in the cryptid community. You know, a lot of negativity, but you know, we're gonna just stay positive and keep doing what we do. We're gonna keep pushing. We ain't gonna let that bother us. It don't even concern us. So we're gonna just keep doing what we do. Thanks, Nude. Wait a minute, let me see if I can get in contact with this eyewitness. Call him up real quick. Doors everywhere. Let me see if he answered the phone. He should though, cause we're gonna start here, cause we got somebody coming on at 8 too. If he don't answer, then he just gonna have to wait for another time. All right. I'm gonna just call Lieutenant now and see if he answered the phone and let him start. He called back, then it's just gonna ring. I might answer, but then again, I might not. I know I got his number because he gave it to me yesterday. Yeah, I got it right here. I'm gonna call and see if he answer right here. But Lee gonna come on at 8, so I'm gonna let him come on and do his thing right here, and then we'll bring Lee on at 8.
Hello,
Hey, my friend.
what's going on?
Oh man, ain't too much. Just trying to stay in from this snow.
I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah, just trying to stay in from this snow. I tried to call Everett, but it went to his voicemail. So I said, I'm gonna just let you go ahead and start cause I got somebody I got Lee Lee gonna call in at 8 and start telling us about some new some new encounters. He texted me and was telling me about it. But yeah, he got some new encounters that he gonna talk about at 8.
At 8, so show you start at 8?
No, it's starting now. You on now?
Oh, oh, we on now?
Yeah, we on now.
All right.
Remember yesterday we
What y'all
said
want
7, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'm pass the mic to you. You know, tell them a little bit about yourself, and you can just jump right into it.
All right. All right, let me head on over to my office real quick.
Okay. Let me know. Can y'all hear Lieutenant Nugi, Cole, Kay, Ward, Alexander? Can y'all hear him?
All right, let me turn off this TV.
Okay, they said they can hear you. Yeah, okay. He can restart, y'all. You know, Lieutenant, just tell him a little bit about yourself, where you calling from, and what got you into this.
All right. Give me like 2 more seconds. All right. So what's up, Doug Pat? I'm calling from Southeast Texas. And so a little about myself. I am a paramedic with a hospital district, which the hospital's about 20 minutes from my house. Okay? And I am a lieutenant there, so the lieutenant behind my name is a legit title. So I got into the cryptid at a young age. I want to say it started out around 7 or 8 years old when I started hunting. And my very first encounter was at a place that, as a crow flies, probably about 4 miles from the property where we're having encounters at now. This place was about 200 acres, there was a cabin at the end of the road that you turn off to go to this place. It's 5 miles down this road. It used to be gravel. And at the end of the road, there was one house. And there was this old man that lived there. And let me tell you how far back this house was in these woods. This gentleman had no running water. He had one of the old-time wells outside, you know, we pumped the handle like back in the Old West. And he had a pond right next to his house. This gentleman had to take his bath in the pond. So about his place is right next to the gate to the property we hunted. And when you go through the gate, you go down about 200 yards. Okay? There was a cabin there. The whole backside of the cabin was a screened-in porch. There wasn't no walls, just a screened-in porch. And then there's 3 other walls, the side wall and the front wall. And right behind that cabin is a creek. Okay? And this creek runs through 3 different counties. So we're there one night. We spent the night, went hunting the next morning, didn't see nothing. Then we went hunting that evening. Okay? I had the furthest stand away from everybody in the back corner against that hunting club I told y'all about last night. Thousands and thousands of acres, real thick. Nobody's seen a lot of this land. No man's ever touched it. So we're sitting there hunting, and it's getting close to dark. And right before it got dark, I heard boom, like somebody shot. So straight down the right of way from me, about 800 yards, was my dad's stand. He shot. He got him a spike, mature spike. So everybody got picked up in the truck. We went back to camp. So we had an old engine A-frame right next to this creek. And we got this deer up by the hind legs, started doing the skinning process, and we started gutting. Well, when they went to gutting across the creek, you could hear something walking. Didn't catch nobody's attention because it wasn't very loud. Then it got louder. Crunch, 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 crunch. Then it stops. And whatever this was let out the most blood-curling, raise your hair on your neck. And it lasted longer than that, but I mean, just to give you an idea, you could feel it through your chest. Guns go to racking. What was that? Don't know. Then you can kind of hear it walking back and forth. Kind of like it's got its eye on us, but it's shuffling side to side. So we hurriedly quartered this deer, got our gear, and we left. The owner of the property was a man that was very dear to me. And he was of no relation, but I called him uncle. God bless his soul, he passed on about 8 years ago. His granddaddy had a logbook in this cabin. It sat on top of the fridge that had specific date. And in this logbook, he had 4 different encounters of seeing something about 7 foot tall, very wide, long arms, and big feet. So he wrote about those in this little journal. And he actually, at one time, had a picture of a footprint. Don't know where that picture is now. Wish I had it. So, as the time went on, we hunted there for a few more years. And every time that we came back with a deer, a hog, and we put it up on that A-frame, this thing would come around. Now, a lot of times it wouldn't come as close as that first encounter, but you can hear him. You can hear him off in the distance. He's there. So, that's where my first encounter started, and from there, a lot of things, of course, happened within my family. You know, my family, like I said last night, we have ties to paranormal. You know, we've seen shadow men. At where my dad lives at now, my sister worked at the golf course there. In 2 different occasions, the second time she had witnesses, she claimed she seen a lizard man. And she gave details of how this thing looked. And she said you could see the spine, you could see the scales, and it had yellow eyes. And this was right at dark. The second time they seen it, she had 2 of her friends with her, a couple, an older gentleman and a mid-aged woman that she was dating the little bit older gentleman. They were walking around in about 3 blocks from where the first encounter was. They seen it again. So, from then on, they were kind of scared to walk around. And after about a year, they went back out there and started walking again and never seen it again. Thank God, because, you know, none of them ever walked around armed. You know, no one ever thought you would have to walk around armed. So, at our property, I've had encounters, of course. I know everybody's tuned into the show, the last 2 shows I've been on, and I won't get real deep into that, but, you know, I have found out within the last 2 days that that town was built on an old Indian burial ground. Now, to give you whoever of the dog pack didn't tune in last night, I sent Marvin some evidence that I recently got on my trail camera, no more than 2 weeks old. And there was 2 pictures on that trail camera. On the left side of the picture, you can see very coarse hair, just barely sticking into the picture. Okay? Raising suspicion. The next picture, you can really see some hair coming into the picture. I've analyzed it, racking my head, thinking, you know, this is not a cow. I know what every cow on this property looks like. Marvin took a look at it. Marvin said it ain't no cow. My mind, my heart, I believe it ain't no cow. I've got bent over saplings on my property. And just a reminder, this property before we bought it was untouched for 30 to 40 years. And the only ones that go out on this property is me and my dad. And so we're not gonna bend over saplings. There's no reason for us to do so. My dad won't even go in these woods at night. He'll walk during the day, but he always says, we're gonna walk bring a weapon. I still am trying to get him to tell me what he saw. Because when I say, let's go walk in the woods, he gets a look. And it's no look I've ever seen from this man, because I've seen this man go in a lot of woods. He's hunted all around the state of Texas, Missouri, Colorado, you name it. And this is the first time I ever know this man cannot go in a set of woods. Now, the day that I asked him to go into the woods with me at night is the day I found the second sapling bent over. And that same day is when I caught a footprint that caught my, I seen the footprint caught my eye. Put it that way. I put my foot in it. And it was about, I wear a size 11. I'm going to say it was a size 13, maybe size 14. But it was wide. So the picture I have is my size 11 to this footprint. And you can tell it's considerably bigger. Now, it's inconclusive to me because all you can see is the heel, a little bit of the arch, and then the front ball pushed in, and the big toe. You can't see the rest of the digit. So I kind of feel there's something there, but to me, I feel that footprint is inconclusive. So this is where my story is.
Oh my God.
Now, to go into a little something different.
Hey, excuse me, Lieutenant, can you hold on 1 minute? That's okay. Go ahead. Go ahead and finish. He waited too long. Go ahead. He waited too long to call me.
All right. So I'm going to give y'all a little bit different encounter. Something that happened to me at work. So, our station is stationed at the hospital, but the building we're in, the only thing connecting us to the hospital is a breezeway. Okay? We have 4 rooms in our station. And then we have our chief's office. And then there's a room back there to kind of gather around. There's a table, computer, So this was right after I got promoted to lieutenant. I was finishing my shifts as a field paramedic. I was already promoted, but I was finishing out my shifts and going to start on my shift that I was going to supervise the next week. So I'm working with the lieutenant on that shift that night. And I'm in the room right next to his. So I'm sitting there, and I'm playing on my computer. And he goes, "Hey, bud, can you cover me? I'm going to go take a shower." I'm like, yeah, I'll cover you. So I had the lights in my room off. And I'm sitting there on my computer. I had the little TV on the wall mount in the corner, no sound, and I'm on YouTube. As I'm sitting there, flash, my light turns on. Like, what the hell is that? I look at my switch, and my switch is pushed to the up position. Okay. I think I kind of know what's going on here. So I turn it back off. Click. I look at my computer, and I turn my head just a little bit and kind of move my eyes to the left to look at this switch. And I see this switch slowly go up. Wow. My light comes on. Didn't say nothing to nobody. The other lieutenant got out the shower, and he went into his room. We called it a night, didn't catch no calls that night. Wake up the next morning, we're doing station duties, and he says, "Hey, bud." Yeah. "Did you knock on my door last night?" No. He goes, "Man, something knocked on my door, and it wasn't the three of y'all. And we have a secure door to where you have to have a hospital badge to go in. And where we're at, and where our emergency room at, is where the nurses at night take care of patients. They have no reason to come over there. They can't come over there because there's only 2 nurses. The door at the lieutenant room, you can hear slide open if someone badges in." He said, "The door never opened. I know someone didn't come in here. You sure you didn't knock on my door?" I'm like, "No. I slept through the entire night." He said, "I was sleeping and I heard knock, knock, knock." He goes, "It wasn't very loud, but I heard it." And he says he answered, "Yeah." No one answers. He hears knock, knock, knock. So he gets up and goes to the door and opens it. Nobody's there. He shuts the door. About 5 minutes later, knock, knock, knock. He runs to the door, opens it. Nobody there. So he goes to bed. He goes, "Man, I didn't sleep the rest of the night." I was like, "I don't blame you." Well, that same night, the guy who was in the room on the other side of me said out of one of the cabinets in the room, the cabinet door opened up and a pillow flew across the room and hit him while he was sleeping. Interesting. He goes, "I've never experienced nothing like that." The lieutenant said, "Man, there's been a couple of people in that room right there that said that every now and then in the middle of the night, that cabinet will fly open and a pillow will come out and hit them in the face." Scary. Scary. So obviously there's something there. So we gathered that morning and talked about everything that happened. And honestly, we've had quite a few experiences from that time on to present time. And just the other day when I was on shift, at about 1 in the morning, I heard the knock, knock, knock. And I was still awake because I was, QAing reports, getting all my supervisory duties done. And it did it twice. Both times I opened the door, there was nobody there. So this is just one of many encounters that I have gone through and that I have saved. I have plenty of more encounters that I can share. But unlike yesterday, I'm not going to take up a whole lot of time today because I want to hear what everyone else has got to say. And I promise y'all, with everything that I get, every piece of evidence that I get will go to Marvin. And what Marvin decides to do with that evidence, if he wants to show it to y'all, cool. But everything will filter through Marvin. Everything I get. If I send a video, I will send it to Marvin, and Marvin will review it. If he decides to put it up, he's going to put it up. And I know Marvin does everything privately, and that's great. That's great. We don't want no one else getting the credit for all this. So that's one of many stories I have. I'll stick around for a few more minutes if anyone has any questions.
And anybody got any questions for Lieutenant? But you still got like 20 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you still
Yeah,
got time. It's only 7:30.
We can do a Q&A right now. Who's got questions?
Anybody got any questions? Lisa, Scott, hey Scott, Doogie, Alexander, Claire. Any of y'all got any questions y'all want to ask them right now?
So Claire asked, how old were you with the first? I was about 8 years old, Claire. 8 years old, and I was scared. I had a shaman moment.
Scott said that are there a lot of UFOs there where you at?
Yes, absolutely. So, Scott, with that question, there is a town, actually where my hospital is, there's a town probably about 6 miles away. Okay? That town back in, I want to say 1998 or maybe 99, was on Discovery Channel. And it was on a show, I can't remember the name of the show, but it was a UFO show. They were going through I think the top 10 most, the top 10 UFOs, most heaviest traffic cities. And this little town came in at number 2. Mexico City was number 1.
Wow.
Okay, Tracy says, do you still like the stuff? Follows you around. I know I missed yesterday. I'm sorry. I will go listen, but some people kind of like me, kind of see stuff their whole life. Yeah, I've had some stuff follow me around. You know, if you listen to the show yesterday, Tracy, I lived in a house where a lot of crazy things happened. I heard voices come out of my dad's mouth that weren't his. Seen shadow people. You know, the guy with the looked like the trench coat with the hat.
Mm-hmm. The black hat.
Right. I've seen it. My mom has seen it. My sister has seen it. My dad never has seen it. You know, I've had stuff follow me to when I was married to my first wife. I had something follow me there, and I think it kind of had an impact on my son and my ex-mother-in-law because they had strange things happen at their house, which I think yesterday they caught a little girl on a video recorder at night singing and humming, and my ex-mother-in-law was the only one in the house. She lived alone. And then, you know, my son says he's seen a shadow figure there. And in the house I lived at before and in the one now had something there.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing we had happen in the house I'm at now is I woke up one night in the bathroom about 2, maybe 3 in the morning, somewhere around there. And I have a breezeway between my living room and my bedroom that goes, if you coming from the bedroom, going to the living room, you take a left, there's a door that goes out to my backyard. I have a big screened-in porch. And so I had both doors closed. When I went to use the bathroom, I opened the one door and I could hear something in the living room. I opened the door and my big screen TV is on, full blast, volume up. And that was actually my oldest son went and stayed at his mom's. It was his weekends at his mom's house, and it was just my 2 littles here. And they don't get up in the middle of the night. They like their mama. Once they go to sleep, they sleep. So, yeah, that's something that I've had stuff follow me, but you know, it kind of dwindled down.
Yeah, Scott wanted to know is any ley lines or intersections where you at?
Any what lines?
Ley lines. Or intersections.
That I don't know. I know, now this is crazy. On the property that we have where I hunt, there is I don't want to call them derricks. I don't know what the proper term is, but it's some big structures that kind of start wide at the bottom and taper up, and then they have like the little arms hanging off of them that have the power lines on them. We got one of those like smack dab in the middle of our property that still has electricity going to that old sulfur plant, and it goes all the way to God knows who. So I'm sure with all that electricity going through there, I'm sure the EMF is off the level there, off the charts. But as far as ley lines, I don't know. I would have to research that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure I could find something on it. But I know there's a lot of activity, whether there's ley lines or not. There's a lot of activity around that town.
You ever smelt any strange smells?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So at the house I grew up in, we used to always get a smell of something burning. My mom would always wake up in the middle of the night in a panic. Get up, get up, get up. Like, Ma, what's wrong? I smell something burning. And you could smell it heavy. And then we'd go around the house. Oven was off. Air conditioner was running. My dad would go outside, check the AC unit. Nothing wrong there. And then by the time everybody, my dad would come back in and we all gathered back up. You couldn't smell it no more. And that would happen real frequently in that house. It would, a lot of times it would be stronger than others. It wasn't never subtle. It was always pretty strong. And there was a few times where it was unbearable to where, you thought the house was on fire. So, yeah, we smelled smells. I smelled smells. Now let me tell y'all this story real quick. So, speaking of smells, my uncle lives right down the road from where my dad lives at. He's got property back there that we used to go hunt on, and it goes way back. It goes miles and miles back. So me and my dad went over there. I was probably about 15 or 16. My cousin, let's go hunt. Let's go hunt. Let's go get a hog. All right, cool. I got my rifle in the truck. So we gear up. We got a spotlight that's attached to a old pressure washer battery, and we had it in the backpack. And then the only other light we had was one of those, what were they, the little D-cell colored flashlights, the real cheap ones. We had one of those. So we take off through the gate, and we go walking down the first right-of-way, and where the property borders, it makes a right, and then it goes straight back for a long ways, and it's nothing but woods. When you're walking along the edge of that property, it's the right-of-way. There's a fence that goes all the way down, and then the woods on the right. It's about 1 a.m. We're walking back there, and we get probably about a mile down to come across this old dried-up creek bed. We cross it. We walk about another 200 yards. And get this, it's about 2 a.m. Imagine this, it gets foggy. Clear night. Cool. It gets foggy. But this time the fog comes in, and then it drops down to about waist high. So from waist high down, you can't see your feet, just like out of a horror movie. So at this point, we're like, man, should we double back or keep going? I'm like, man, in either direction you look, it's foggy. We might as well just keep going. I said, just turn that Q-beam on, that spotlight, That way we can at least try to see something, you know. So, of course, you know, the QB wasn't much help, and we're walking. We don't hear any noise. No owls, no bugs, nothing. Wind ain't even blowing. And as we got a little bit further down, you get a smell. God awful smell that smelled like raw sewage. And this is out in the middle of nowhere. There is no houses around for probably 2 miles. And it smells like we're standing in it. Raw sewage. It's just like, woo. So we pick up the pace and try and get up out of there. And as we get about 300 yards down the right-of-way, it finally tapered off. We couldn't smell it no more. And as we got out of that right-of-way, the field opened up. No fog. So we made a sharp right and looked it straight back to my uncle's house. We got back. My dad and my uncle were sitting there holding rifles like, what are y'all doing? We was about to come look for y'all. Like, why? Because of the fog. Y'all don't need to be out there in that fog. But why? Y'all just don't need to be out there in that fog. Like, all right. We made it back. No harm, no foul. My uncle, yeah, but y'all don't need to be in that fog. He never said nothing about the fog after that. He just said, y'all don't need to be in that fog. Every now and then, when we'd go out to my uncle's house, on a windy night, you could smell coming from the woods if the wind was coming from that direction. Every now and then, you could smell that sewage smell. Was there anything in them woods? Don't know. Like I said, never heard anything. Never heard any footsteps. Didn't think anything was stalking us. Didn't have that feeling. But obviously something was there, because we wouldn't have smelled what we smelled. And this place is probably about 1.5 miles, maybe 2. I'm going to say with the curves trying to get to it, it's 2 miles from our property. So that was something I thought I should share with y'all, since y'all asked about the smell.
Right.
That's.
So.
And even though I smelled that and that fog rolled in, I never got scared, because I had to hold my composure for my cousin, because if I wouldn't have held my composure, I don't think we'd have got out of there till morning. So that's how I'm able to go into the woods at night by myself, is because of that. How much time we at, Marvin?
Like 15 minutes.
All right. Anybody else got questions?
Wait a minute, I'm trying to see if they're coming up with some questions.
Yeah, I'm looking at the chat. It look like it got a little still. Hope I didn't scare nobody.
Yeah, because because you got to think though. I mean, by you already got the cameras set up and everything. You'll probably most likely you will probably get something though. But I would still, Lieutenant, I still would try to put one up a little higher.
I am. As a matter of fact, I was talking about that with my son earlier, and the cell link that I got, the one that transmits to my phone, this coming week, I'm going to go out there, and I'm going to put it in a tree, probably about 10 foot.
Okay.
facing down at
Right.
the theater.
Kevin asks, have you ever had sleep paralysis?
Yes. So every time I've seen that shadow figure with the hat, I would always wake up and be paralyzed. Every time. Every time. And that's kind of a scary feeling because you know what that is. But every time that I woke up and was paralyzed, I never shut my eyes. And as hard as I would try
I'm
to
gonna
move,
ask him, Tom.
hard as I would try to move, I couldn't move. And then all of a sudden, bam, my leg hits the floor and I'm able to move and never close my eyes. So that's how I know I was awake the whole time.
Okay, Tom wanna ask have you ever astral projected?
No, no, never. I've heard about people doing it, but I've never done it myself.
Have you ever had out of body experience?
Actually, I want to tell you, I want to say yes. I had an accident on my bike. I was probably, I want to say about 5 years old. Yeah, because that's when Rocky 4 come out. And I was like, yeah, Rocky, all right. And I was about 5 years old. And my mom said she seen the whole thing. I don't remember it. I think I had got a concussion. But she said I was riding my bike and I must have hit like a rock or the wrong brake on the handle, and I went as end over front, and I hit the road face first. And she said I was knocked out. Now, the only thing I remember, and I don't know if this is a dream or if that was an OBE, but I could see myself laying on the ground by my bike. That's all I remember.
Okay.
Now, I'll let y'all decide what that is. I know I was severely concussed because I woke up and I don't even remember riding my bike, put it that way, Marvin. But I woke up in the emergency room. So I know, being a paramedic as long as I know I was severely concussed. Severely concussed. But I can't honestly decipher if that was an OBE or if I was treated. So I can kind of say yes, but I have to say no.
Okay, Lieutenant Ward wanted to ask, have you ever experienced a voice in your head, like telepathy, at any time with this phenomenon?
Honestly, no. I don't. Now I've heard voices, but I don't think they were from within my head. I think they were from without. But honestly, on the inside, no. I don't think I've ever heard anything inside my head, like, you know, my mind or something telling me to, you know, do this, or, you know, like maybe a creature is using telepathy to say like, hey, follow me. I don't think I've ever experienced that.
Okay. Any other questions, y'all?
Come on, y'all. Now's the time to ask, because I'm going to be gone for 2 days. I got to go to work tomorrow.
So you're gonna be back off on Sunday?
Yes.
Okay. No problem, Ward. Oh, they want to know.
Yes.
Scott Baker want to know where was the this location located at?
Which additional case?
Where it was located at?
Where it's located at?
Yeah.
All of this happened in Southeast Texas, and It all happened within one county. Now, like, now the stuff that followed me to my house where I lived at with my ex-wife is a different county, and the house before I have right now, the stuff that followed me there is a different county. But the majority of it is in one county. And I'll say this: it's about 50 miles southwest of Houston.
Okay, Ward want to know, do you think you ever been abducted?
No, not at all. Every UFO I've seen, I've seen two.
Oh, I don't know if Kay heard the question, but she want to know, what county did this happen in?
Okay, okay, like I said, it happened 50 miles southwest of Houston. I'm not going to disclose the county because
Absolutely.
I don't want anybody trying to find out where my property's at. I don't want whoever could possibly be listening in on a different IP address we don't know about know where
Right.
this is at.
I feel you.
So we're going to keep it private. We'll say 50 miles southwest of Houston. And I'm going to say give or take about 15 miles, just to throw anybody off who's listening.
And I respect that too, because like I said, it be people that's in the chat, but everybody is not in the chat. Some people is just listening, so it could be trolls
Right.
that's listening in and trying to find out information. We already know it is. That's why they never appear up on the screen. So it's all good. So you
Yep.
did the right thing. Don't reveal it.
Yep. You know, and the only way you're going to find this place is if you know it's there. If you don't know it's there, you'll never find it.
Ward want to ask, do you think you live in a portal area like Skinwalker Ranch?
Man, that's a very good question.
It is.
Honestly, I could say honestly that could be a possibility with what my sister and her friends seen, evidence I've gathered, what was wrote in that book. I'm going to say there could be some kind of portal there. Absolutely. I mean, it's this town is built on top of an Indian burial ground.
Right.
The Navajos were notorious for skinwalkers. You know, the Cherokees, the Navajos, you know, just about every Native American tribe had their skinwalkers. And, you know I have Native American in me. My grandpa had a lot of Native American. My great-grandpa was heavy Native American. So, you know, I know a little bit about the heritage, not enough that I should know. I should know more and be deeper into that part of my heritage. But I do know that, you know, skinwalkers are out there. I do know this for sure, that you can be hexed. I know for sure if someone who does it to you, it can really ruin your life. I've seen that firsthand 2 times. It can ruin your life.
Right.
So anybody who encounters Native Americans, be very, very careful on what you do. You know, don't ever, you know, like my dad used to say, jealousy is the son of a gun. If somebody's jealous of you, they want what you got, they'll go to whatever means to get it. And that's what happened these 2 times. And I know the person who had it done to them. Personally, I know them. And they recovered from it, but at the very beginning when it happened the first time, it almost ruined their life.
Right. But man, like I said, man, I just love having you coming on, man, because you got a lot to talk about, and
I,
a lot more to share.
absolutely, and a lot more to find out too.
Right. Right. That's this just the beginning.
That's just the beginning, man. Like I said, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna try and do a night investigation out on the property this coming week. And like I said, I got all my night vision equipment ready. Um, hopefully it's not as cold as it has been this week. And looking at the weather forecast, it ain't gonna be, so that'll be perfect. And hopefully this time we can get some audio. Because, like I said, just about every time I go out there and I do something at night, most of the time at night, almost 100% of the time, if I make a knock or a howl or hoot, I always get a response back.
And that's a good thing though. And like as always, man, we love to have you come on here. Can't wait until your day off where you can come back and tell us some more. Hopefully you'll have some more evidence by then. Um as always, man, it's a pleasure. I'm grateful to have you part of this group, part of this pack. And
I'm thankful that y'all have me here.
and thank you for coming on
Absolutely.
and sharing that. And you can
Absolutely.
jump in the chat, and I'm gonna get ready for this next eyewitness. Thank you so much,
All right.
Lieutenant.
Just before we go, Marvin,
Uh huh.
I guess when I come back, my son says he wants to jump on and tell you about his encounter of that shadow man.
Absolutely.
He listened. He listened to you, and he's hooked, man. So, but he said he'd like to talk to you about his encounter.
Man, absolutely, man. That would be a blessing. You know what I mean? I know you
All
off
right.
Sunday, so you know what I mean. I know that day you off, so absolutely, he can definitely come on and talk about it because we haven't had too many eyewitness come on and talk about these shadow people. So we had a few, but yeah, we would definitely want to hear that.
All right, man. That sounds good. I'll let him know.
Okay, and thank you again.
Absolutely, Marvin. Thank you, bud. I appreciate everything.
All right, no problem.
Bye bye.
All right, bye. Okay, y'all ready for Lee? Put up a one. All right, I'm going to call him now. He say he gonna answer. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. I'm coming. Let's see if he I'm gonna see if he off yet. He should be off though. But I'm gonna hit him now and see if he off. If not, then he'll give me a call back. But that's one it.
Hey, Marvin.
Hey.
How's it going?
Oh man, they stoked. They ready for you. They ready for you. They stoked. They done put up so many ones.
Oh, that's cool.
They are stoked, but are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready
Oh,
whenever you're ready,
okay.
Marvin.
Let me set this up.
Okay.
Okay. All
Let me get
right.
my headphones
Okay.
on here.
He on here,
Hold
y'all,
on here,
and he
Marvin.
gonna get his headphones, and he gonna
There
ready
we go.
start. Let me know if y'all can hear him when he say something.
Hey, everybody.
Can y'all hear him, Lisa?
Can you guys hear me? Check, check, check.
I mean, they getting ready to let me know now.
Okay.
Can y'all hear?
Hello?
Yeah. They say yeah. Say you
Oh,
sound
cool.
good. All right, so the floor is
Awesome.
yours.
How's the dog pack doing tonight? How you been, Marvin?
Oh man, I've been great, man. I've been great. You know what I mean? I'm just happy and blessed that our group members is climbing slowly but surely.
Oh yeah,
And I know it's gonna get there. So I'm just stoked about that. I'm just glad
that's
that we got
great.
people that come in the group because a lot of people, new members, said, man, they finally found a group where they can come and not be ridiculed, talked about, or kicked out. I say because everybody got a voice here.
That's right.
Everybody got a voice here. This all our group.
And Marvin, the thing of it is the people that make fun of people like that have seen things and have experienced stuff like that, we don't need them to tell us that stuff doesn't exist because we know it does. We've seen it. We've been there and we've seen it.
Oh, absolutely. We already know. We just trying to make
That's right.
we trying to make
And
other people aware.
and that's what I like about these platforms like this, because we're coming together as a group and we're telling what we've seen, comparing notes, and we're gonna make some sense out of this one of these days. Things are gonna come together, and we're gonna know one of these days.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We're gonna get some proof. It might take a minute, but we're gonna get it.
Hey, you got that right.
We definitely gonna get it. But the thing about us, we just can't make it really public. You know what I mean? Because
Right,
that would start a whole chain of events. We
right.
know what could happen if we post that on Facebook or YouTube.
Yes, yes, we sure can. A lot of people get persecuted for things that they say on there. You know what? Yeah, it's just silly. It's just silly.
Yeah.
Because, most of the stuff that they say on there doesn't mean nothing anyway.
Right. And I
You know?
talked to a pack member up in Pennsylvania because he doing some investigating up there for me in that state park where I just talked to an eyewitness at. So he gonna go over there and try to look and see if he can get some evidence. And he said he taking a chance on that because he said the feds pulled him over in them black SUVs and
Yeah.
told him to stay out the park. I'm
What
like,
they,
man, it's just crazy, yo, the way these people just threaten you.
Marvin, I don't know if you've heard of there's a guy out there that's got a show called The Mysterious Huntsman. Have you heard of his show?
I heard of it. I was on his show.
He just had a video, one of his latest videos. He went down to, where Land Between the Lakes is,
Yes,
where
yes.
the monster of LBL.
Yes.
And he was saying on his show that he was camping somewhere down there, and a guy come up to him and said, "I know what you're looking for." And he said, "You better be careful what you're looking for, because sometimes it might start looking back." Like, kind of warned him. He thought it was kind of weird.
Right. It is.
That was a warning right there. That was a warning.
Absolutely.
They was watching him.
Absolutely. If somebody come up to you and say something like that, they already know. So basically he giving him a warning. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So whether a person take heed to that, because he was trying to get me to go down there with him.
Oh, he was?
Yeah, down to
The Mysterious Husband?
yeah, down to the LBL. He wanted me to
Yeah,
go down there with him.
I'm only 4 hours away from there. And I go down there with that guy. I've actually been there, and I'll tell you what, Marvin, it has a creepy vibe to it.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you something about that area down there. I worked with a guy. He was an older gentleman. He was a Vietnam vet, and he went down there for years and deer hunted down in the LBL. And he said that they turn all kinds of animals loose down there because it's like a national forest type area.
Mm-hmm.
And they turn all kinds of animals down there. He said there's deer down there that we've never seen here in the United States before. One of the deer he's talking about was called a silk deer. And I'm not even sure what continent the silk deer are on, but they're a lot different than our white-tailed deer, and they have different characteristics and attributes than like a regular white-tailed. But he would see those all the time. So if they put that kind of stuff in there, there's no telling what they put in there.
And you know what?
So,
Hey, Whisper TV, how you doing, my friend? And I can believe that. I can believe that they let certain animals loose. But do you think that they doing this so when somebody do get attacked or get hurt, they can blame it on one of these other animals? Because they not gonna just come out and say it was a Doug man, or it was
Oh
rapist.
no,
But they not
and
gonna
you know,
say
like,
that.
go ahead, Marvin.
I was just saying they not gonna say that, Lee.
No, and you know the thing of it is, like the people that supposedly got murdered there or whatever, they, you know, they got shredded. Like they just like whatever this thing was, it just like shredded them. You know, and they tore them up. Well, all they're gonna say is it was a bear or it's a cougar.
Right.
You know, they're
And
not going. They're not going to say it was a 7 or 9 foot dog man come out of there and attack.
Hey, Richard Reed, you know that. But you know another thing though, that's just like when I had talking to a guy and he said that he had a good friend that was an officer when the Land Between the Lake murders happened. And he said that his friend said that he stayed there the whole time. And he said he didn't see them recover no large canine cryptid when they went down in that holler and was supposed to pull that thing out because they had to use a deuce and a quarter to pull it out. That's how big
Yeah,
and how
yeah,
heavy this thing was. And he said
right.
he didn't see. He said he didn't. His friend didn't see none. Now the story came that they did remove a body that came from Kimbo. I mean Kumbo.
Kumbo.
Yeah, bad now. You
Yeah.
know that came from them. But he said his friend said he was there the whole time and he never seen them remove no body. And he said that they
Yep.
loaded all them bodies up on that trailer, took it somewhere, and just blew it up
And
like to
and
get
you
rid
know
of the
right
bodies.
and you know right there, Marvin, they're using divide and conquer tactics. You got one person saying, "No, it never happened." You got this other person saying that it did happen. So it's a perfect storm for them to say that oh well it did happen, it didn't happen. So now that leaves everybody to say, well, did it or didn't it? You know, when in all actuality it probably really did happen, and that was just a smoke screen to cover people's trail. You
Yeah,
know.
and I think so too. Just like when them two kids was killed in Kentucky, you know, by the only thing they gonna say it was a canine. So they want to probably say it's a wild dog or something. Come on now, we not stupid or dumb.
Yeah. Did you do you remember as a year back or a year or two back? It was in West Virginia where there was a boy playing out back or something of the house, and his family member heard him screaming or whatever, and this thing was had a hold of him and was taking him up the mountain, and they couldn't
I
get up
heard
to
that.
where his
I heard it.
yes, and they couldn't get up to where his remains were because or they had trouble getting up there. Like a normal person couldn't just climb up there easy and get up to where his body was at.
That's
So
that was crazy.
yeah,
That was
I think
crazy.
I may have heard that on your show or Vic's show or
Yeah,
somebody's,
and the
but it
thing.
was like I did some research on it and was
Hmm.
trying to find some stuff, and I found a little bit on it, but
Right,
I
but
couldn't find a whole lot.
this would get me though. This would get me though. Get me though, Lee. What I'm gonna say. About these. You know these. Doug man creatures. I don't know what provoked them when they do go out and they do kill a person. You know what I mean? I don't know if they snap because it can't be food. It can't
Right?
be food. It ain't no shortage of food in the woods. So
Yeah.
it can't be that. It got to be something else that make these creatures go off the deep end to kill a human. It got to be because it ain't food. That ain't like they that hungry when they can just snatch a deer, up, a buck or something, a cow.
Yes. Yes. Um, we just had a guy on our podcast that me and Dee's been doing, and we're trying to work the bugs out of it. I don't know how you do it, Marvin, but you do a hell of a job. We've got so many bugs we're trying to work out on it that we had a guy that had called in, and he had a Sasquatch sighting, and he found it was a tree that had fell down, and it had like a little he called it like a nest underneath of it, and he crawled down underneath that nest into that nest, and he said there were 3 pretty good sized rolls of chicken wire in 3 different spots underneath there. And he said what he thought that they were doing, the Sasquatch were doing with that thing. So he said the way this nest was built, he said a regular person couldn't have built it. He said it was just too big, and the way it was constructed. And he said what he thought that they were doing with that chicken wire was that they were using that chicken wire like a fishing net type thing, where they leave it down on the ground, and the deer comes. They'd run a deer through an area, and they'd lift it up and catch the deer with the chicken wire like a net. And that's just how smart these things are. They know what they're doing.
Absolutely. They one thing I can say, man, they definitely dumb. Now, D. Scott asked a question. He said, "What caliber can stop a Doug, man?" As far as he talking about a caliber bullet or gun.
To me, I don't know that. I don't know that any caliber can stop them. But
Me neither.
I would think a 50 cal. We're talking like a heavy 50 caliber, like a BMG or a I can't think of the other name of them. A BMG would probably put a hurt on them. But the way that they talk about people that have engaged these creatures and shot at them or whatever they, shot at them with, it's almost like these things heal up immediately as soon as you shoot them, or it doesn't even affect them.
And you know what? I thought the same thing. Lee. It's like they got some kind of self-healing, because I had listened to this podcast one time, and the lady said that, she said, "I done seen it. My husband have did it." She said, "You wasting your time." This is what she said. I don't know, but I'm going by what she said, because she said her husband have shot these creatures in these spots. She said, "You wasting your time shooting them up in their upper area, and you shoot them in their head, because their head is just so, it don't make no sense for something to have a head that large."
Yeah.
She said, so the best way to hit them at is below, like below the butt. Because they got a butt it's just like a Doug, and they smaller than that because it tapers off. Like in the knee, like hit them in the kneecap or the hock or something. You know what I mean? But people always want to try to get a head shot or chest shot. That thing still runs off.
I'll tell you the caliber that probably do it is it's a 50 cal, but it's what's called a quad 50. And what a quad 50 is, it's basically 4 50 caliber fully automatic machine guns going off at one time. There's a machine gun shoot down in Knob Creek, Kentucky, and they will fire up a quad 50, and they'll hit a bus with it. They'll shoot a bus with it in the middle of a field, and that thing is so powerful that it will push the bus sideways across the field. So that would do the trick.
Yeah, but it just seems like these things is just indestructible.
I believe that too. I think there's.
Go ahead, Lee.
I think there's something supernatural about them, and it's almost like they're half in one dimension and half in our dimension, if that makes sense. There's a physical part of the dimension that they're in our reality, but it's like they're in another one at the same time, if that makes sense.
Somebody said they think when they get shot, they can go back, I guess, to another dimension and heal, and then come right back like ain't nothing even happened.
Right, like they phase right out and then phase right back in.
Right, and that's just crazy. Now, last night we was talking about how some of these Doug men are seen with little small gray entities on their shoulder, and the entities is moving their mouth right next to the Doug man ear, like it's communicating with him. And I just thought that was just amazing.
That doesn't surprise me, and that it seems like a total possibility, because if the Greys are with them, like if the Greys, for example, if they're can do like time travel, or they can change from dimensions in and out, maybe these dog men are like their gatekeepers. That's kind of what I've thought about the dog men, that they're like a dimensional gateway gatekeeper.
Right.
And that what's his name? Do you know who Kawani Lapsaritis is? He talks about the psychic Sasquatch. He's wrote different books on it. But that's what Kawani Lapsaritis says. And if you watch some of his videos, he'll say that that the dog man creatures, they're the ones that guard the portal, the to that other dimension.
Right.
So I don't know how he knows that. I think he talks like he's seen them or witnessed it. But there's something to it, Marvin, that's supernatural, because when they get hit, like you said, they just start healing immediately. And I saw one of your guests in here said that it's like it doesn't affect them, like it's like they're Superman, and I would agree with that.
And you know what? It is though. You know what I mean? It's like some people have shot them. They might stumble back and still walk forward. Shoot them again, still walk forward. Shoot them again, still walk forward. That's just it don't make no sense. That's just like when I listened to Art Bell and he was telling about the Skinwalker Ranch when that big wolf came cross and they just thought it was domesticated because the way it looked it, and then it leaped and it grabbed one of those small cows by the nose and tried to pull it through the gate. The way he shot this thing, and he said this thing didn't even bleed, didn't no blood even come out of it.
He said, didn't he say like it blowed out some like meat or flesh off of it?
Piece of hair, fur, and flesh. And they said
it was like rotten smelling.
It smelled like it been out for a while. So I go to show you this thing just walked away.
Hey, you know what, Marvin? That just gives me an idea right there. If they shot it and it blowed pieces of the meat out of the animal or whatever, and it hit the ground, right? Mm-hmm. So when they got over to it, it smelled like it was rotten, like it had been there for days.
Right.
Well, that means this thing was jumping time. This thing they were seeing it in our time, but it was actually in a different time. So when they shot it and it blowed that meat out, it went into a different time, like a week later, but looked like it was right in our physical environment. And when he picked it up, that's why it smelled rotten. That would be a plausible explanation. That's just my thought.
You're absolutely right. And Tom, I got an eyewitness right now that lived 3 miles from Skinwalker Ranch, and she said that the reservation around there said they had been seeing this 7-foot tall humanoid creature walking around, digging through trash and all that.
Yeah.
So
wow.
I don't even know. And she said that in the face, it looked like a cat because it got a clipped lip, just like a cat got.
Right.
So I don't know what that could be.
Wow. The only time I've heard of any cat beings is that he said he ranched with James Gilliland. They talk about a feline race of extraterrestrial beings, and like in Egypt, they have reliefs on the like the hieroglyphics. They have dog men and lizard men and all kinds of creatures, cat, everything.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying though. It's all these cryptids with these different looks, because I had an eyewitness that came out of Canada that said that he said it looked like a dog man, but it had feline features in the face. You know what I mean? He said I can't really explain it, but that's what it looked like to me. So
like a small muzzle? Did it have a small muzzle on it?
A small muzzle, just like a cat would have. He said it looked like a feline in the face.
Wow.
So do these cat cryptids exist? Who knows?
I've never. Hey, anything with the DNA stuff that's been manipulated, who knows what's out there? You know, Marvin.
Right.
It's amazing.
Because
it's an amazing world.
Right, because I think that the government, them scientists just can take some DNA and they can mix it and play with it, and they can come up with an abomination. You don't know what they might create.
Right. You're absolutely right. Well, we know they already did a sheep that way, remember? Dolly the sheep or whatever that thing.
Absolutely. They did it.
Yep.
So it ain't like they don't have the capability to do this. They can do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see how people so blind when they cloned the sheep and you think they can't clone nothing else?
Well, look at how far back that was, Marvin. Wasn't that like was that in the late '80s,
Yep,
early '90s,
that's when it.
maybe?
Yep.
And all this time has went. That's almost 30 years or so ago, and that's given them 30-year window to perfect. And they had it perfected back then. Then they could clone anything that they want at that point in time. They were just showing the world that yes, we can do it.
You absolutely right. You
And so,
absolutely right. And that's just the crazy part, man. You know what I mean? Like I was talking to my eyewitness, and I was telling him, I was like, at one time Bigfoot was at the top of the chalkboard. Now it's this Doug man cryptid,
yes.
Everybody want to see this Doug man. No, you don't. You don't want to see this thing for real. You just saying that.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me, you don't want to
Yeah.
see it, man. You really don't.
No.
You know.
No. You saw it, didn't you, Marvin? The one that
Yeah,
you saw.
yeah. And I mean, I don't. I mean, I want to see another one, but I want to see it afar. I don't want to be right up on one of these things. And I'm glad I was in a car.
Yes.
But just think about the
Mm-hmm.
people that been up and close with these things. You know what I mean? And they still going through stuff to this day.
Hey, Marvin, you got in the chat room a guy by the name of
Yeah,
Ward.
yeah.
He said that they made glowing rabbits with glowing DNA. So glowing DNA from another species. He said it's 100% real.
I think I seen
some,
that.
I saw pictures of glowing rabbits.
I did.
But
You absolutely right. I seen it too.
I watched a video. It was a documentary. They made us watch this documentary when I was going to school, and when I was in college, going for what I do now. Anyway, they made us watch a video on DNA and genetics and how they genetically manipulate food. And they were talking about back then. They were talking about mixing flounder DNA with strawberry, and the reason why they were going to mix the strawberry DNA with the flounder was that the flounder has it produces some kind of natural antifreeze that keeps its body from freezing in freezing temperatures in the water. And that basically what it would boil down to is that the strawberries, if they mix this DNA with it, it would have that ability to be, it would resist being frozen, so that they could grow it basically in all kinds of different weather and climates and still have strawberries. And then another thing it showed that they were working on was they were working on a tobacco that they were going to mix with firefly DNA, lightning bugs. And whenever this tobacco was ready to be picked, it would start glowing like a firefly, and that's when it would be at an optimum time for harvest.
Right. And another thing though, Lee, it's amazing how an octopus can just change into different environments. The colors that
Mm-hmm.
it's it just boggles the mind that it could just stand next to a green rock and it turn green.
Yeah,
A
it's
blue
just like
coral
it
and it
just.
turns blue. It's just, oh man.
Well, that if say like the Bigfoot or the Dogman, if they had that ability in their hair to do what the octopus could do, it could stand there and take the color on of anything. It could look like the woods that you're looking at, and you'd never even know that it was there. It's amazing. Those octopus that you're talking about, they have just the ultimate camouflage.
Yes.
It is.
And Ward Lord said biological camouflage.
Yes.
Hey Murray.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, absolutely.
And that could be the case now. Last week, I
Mm-hmm.
think it was last week or a couple of weeks, Lee, we was talking about with a co-host that was on there, the person I had on there, she was talking about mermaids and do aquatic life really exist?
Oh, I absolutely believe that it exists.
I do too.
I posted a video on our page the other day, and it was a place in Russia. I don't know if your listeners have heard this, but there was it's like one of the deepest lakes in the world up in Russia. They sent divers in there, and they've encountered these giant humanoid creatures that came up from the bottom, and they were wearing some kind of like a breathing apparatus, and their illustration of what the breathing apparatus looked like was it was almost like a jellyfish. It almost looked like a jellyfish, and it would flex back and forth and produce oxygen for them to breathe, I guess. But anyway, they said that they either didn't like the divers in there with them, or the divers done something that made them mad or whatever. But like if you go from a deep level in when you're scuba diving and you go too fast to the surface, you'll get what's called the bends, and it'll kill you. And I think it's got something to do with the oxygen exchange and the gases in your blood. And they basically propelled these people, these divers, some of them up out of the water. Like they shot them out of the water somehow, and shot them to the surface so fast that a couple of these divers died. But some of the other divers got away from them.
Right.
Had you heard that story?
No, I haven't heard that story though. But
Yeah.
it's just creepy. But I was listening to a story that was up in the Alaskan Triangle where they call this mermaid thing a different name, a different cryptid, and how it dragged this man, down to his death. Just like when they came out with Animal Planet. And I be trying to explain to some people though, they'll put proof right in front of your face and then switch it up and say, "Oh, it was just for entertainment. There's no such thing as aquatic life and all this." Like we really discovered the whole ocean. We ain't even put a
Yeah,
dent in it. We don't even know
very
what's
well put.
we don't even know
Very
what's
well
in
put.
it.
That's right, Marvin. They said we know more about space than we know about the ocean. Did you know that?
Right, absolutely right. You absolutely right. Now, as far as how aquatic life, they think that we started from land and worked our way in the water. That's
Uh-huh.
that was the theory that they did when they did the mermaids, the body found. But I do believe that that
Yeah, I
sonar
did.
that sonar that the Navy was using wasn't just beaching whales. You know what I mean? These
Uh-huh.
other aquatic lives could have been beached too.
Right.
That sonar. You know what I mean? Because they said they was bleeding out their ears, so it
Uh-huh.
got to be some truth to it. You know.
I'd say that's technology you're talking about, where that sonar. It basically whenever where they try to communicate with submarines, I take it, and it affects their like the seals and whales have like a natural radar, or they have a natural migration pattern. So they basically have an internal compass in them that tells them where to go. Well,
Right.
those communication devices that they use to communicate with submarines supposedly knock that out, and they don't know where to go, and then that's what causes them to beach themselves up on the
Right.
beaches.
Absolutely. And their weight, their weight, they collapse. You know what I mean? Because they be so heavy.
Right,
When they now they said that they did say, I guess, long time ago, mermaids used to swim on the side of blue whales. I guess maybe put protection because they used to, blue whales are swimming pods. And I guess ain't too
right.
many animals gonna attack them because they just so massive. So they used to swim on the side of them because they be having, young with them.
Uh-huh.
And the only predator that they really had, though, they said, I guess, was sharks. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So you got to think though, living in the water and you coming up against predators like that, then you had to find a way to defend yourself because they said they had found spears. I guess that they made You know what I mean? It's
Like
stuff
out of
that's
bone and stuff like that,
yeah.
like
They
fish
said they
bone.
was using the tail of a stingray, the barb. They was finding
Yes.
barb. They was finding them barbs inside of sharks. So you know,
Oh
they had to
wow,
be some kind of advance. You know what I mean? To do all that
that's right.
and to protect themselves. You know what I mean? That's why
Well,
they said they went they I guess they went deeper down.
Marvin, they in the ancient Sumerian reliefs, like we talk about the Anunnaki, the ancient people or whatever of Sumeria,
Right.
like Inky and Enlil and stuff like that. If you look at a lot of their like hieroglyphics or reliefs, they have like mermaid-looking men that have like a half of a fish body and a human body on them. And like in the Greek mythology, you're talking about Poseidon, and he was like a mermaid, a mermaidin, or whatever they called him, a mermaid man or whatever. And
Right.
these, who's to say that the Greek gods that they talk about, like Zeus and Thor and this Poseidon and all that, who's to say that those weren't the Anunnaki that basically migrated from Iraq and Iran, because it's all kind of close in that area with Spain and all that, and migrated over towards Greece, and that they ruled the whole area. But like in Iraq and Iran, they would have been there a long time ago, and in Greece it would have been more, more of a modern, depiction of what they looked like. You know what I'm saying? With their marble sculptures and stuff.
Right.
So it could be, and these things they saw, they could, they sculpted what they saw, and I don't know. I think that there's something to it, and like you say, they could have been manipulating DNA way back. There could be other civilizations that had advanced as far as we are now, or maybe even farther, that was doing it back then to create species for, who knows whether they did it for mining purposes underground or under the oceans, and maybe like the Bigfoot was designed to mine gold, and the Dog Man was made for protection. Who knows?
Right. You
It's
absolutely
amazing.
right.
Yeah.
You absolutely right, Lee. Somebody did
That,
say Bigfoot used to mine gold.
yes.
You know.
Do you know anything about the mystery of the Grand Canyons, that they're supposed to have found ancient Egyptian artifacts in
Absolutely.
a cave system? Well,
Absolutely. Yep. I heard
it,
about it. I
these,
looked at a show on that. I looked at a
they,
show on that they said they found Egyptian artifacts like hieroglyphics, and it's been pyramids here in certain parts of the United States. So yeah, I have heard that.
mm-hmm. There was actually a guy over in Illinois that claimed that he had found a cave, and the cave had ancient Egyptian and Roman type hieroglyphics on tablets. He found tablets that had it showed like pharaohs, and then it showed Roman soldiers and all kinds of stuff. And they try to say that it's fake. And then some people say that no, it's not. It's real. But I think that they were here all across the United States. To tell you the truth, I think
Yeah.
that the Egyptians made it here in ships, either
That's what they said.
floating ships or flying ships. Who knows how they got here?
You absolutely right, because now I don't want to jump on the religious part though, but I listen to all books, the Torah, the Bible, the Quran, and I was reading up on Solomon, and they said that that when Solomon was king, that somehow that he used to control the jinn, you know what I mean, basically getting
He,
them to do what he
he,
want. And they
he
said
had
that
to come.
Solomon could take a trip that would take you 6 months, and he could do this in just 3 days.
Wow.
I mean, so they were saying that they believe that Solomon had some kind of flight technology back then, which I ain't gonna put it past some people. You never know,
Yes.
they probably did.
Yes. Over in India, they talk about Vimanas. Do you know what a Vimana? Have you heard of the Vimanas? The Vimanas were a flying craft, and I had talked to some Indian people that I work with, and they told me, because I asked them about it's called I'm really going to blotch this up because I can't speak Indian, but it's the Bhagavad Gita, I think is the name of the text where they talk about a battle in space and these flying craft, and they mention these Brahmanas in them. And I was asking the Indians that I work with about it, and they said that in the ancient text it tells that some of these crafts were so big that they could carry 100 to 200 people in these crafts. And these Brahmana craft, they talk about using I believe it's a liquid mercury, and somehow it made like anti-gravitic propulsion in it, and they could fly. And if people back then would see something like that, and it looked flat or whatever, it looked like a flying carpet. You know what I'm talking about? And that Solomon that you're talking about, that's where a lot of the flying carpet, like the genies on the flying carpets and stuff, that's where a lot of that comes from, is Solomon. But Solomon was in the area close to, or around the areas where maybe that's the technology they saw was Brahmanas coming out of India, and how somehow he acquired that, because Solomon was a very wealthy man, correct?
Absolutely, he was rich.
He could have bought whatever he wanted. He'd see a Brahmana, he'd go up and offer money and say, "I want to buy this technology." He's got it.
Right, and Ward said the same thing about Solomon, what we talking about right now. So he definitely piggyback off of that. But go ahead and talk though, Lee. I'm gonna get something to drink.
All right. One of the things that just kind of comes to me was, when they talk about the jinn, which some people refer to them as demons. I've heard them say that Solomon controlled the demons, and he had command over the demons, that he could build. He could build. He had his temple built with the demons, using their help. Well, back in those ancient times, they would see demons as like a fire demon, or an air demon, or a water demon, or earth, or whatever. But if you consideration that a flying craft would produce a wind, maybe, and it would rise on the wind or the air. In the air, they would consider the wind. Then they would think that the ship would be under the command of the demons. So if he had a ship that was powerful enough that he could lift blocks with it and put them in place to build a temple, then I could totally see where him being in command of the demons could be a plausible explanation. But that's just my theory. Howdy, dog pack. Good to see you guys. I see dude from Texas is there. Lisa's there. You guys do a good job, dude from Texas and Lisa. A lamp of light may be the guard cemeteries to keep spirits from leaving. There you go. That's a good one. Lyrians. Tom K. There's Tom K. Howdy, Tom. Howdy, Christy. Howdy, Lisa A. Iron Maiden. Lyrans. I see that, Iron Maiden. Lyrans. That's the ones that I think James Gilliland talks about. Howdy, Tom. Anybody got any questions out there?
Yeah.
Howdy, Mary Swampy.
Any questions?
Any questions? And did you hear what I said, Marvin, about they said that he could, that Solomon could command the demons? Did you hear what I said about the air? Back in the old days, they would have said
they say
demons,
he can control the wind.
Yeah, the demons that control the wind, the fire, the earth, and the water, they would be all spirits, like demons. And if he had a machine that would rise in the air, they would think that the wind was controlling. He had control of the demons of the wind. You see what I'm saying? And then if the ship was big enough, he could hook stuff onto big blocks and move it. He could build his temple with a flying machine that would appear to be under the controls of the demons of wind, if that makes sense. That's just my theory. But
You're absolutely right, because they said his palace was just magnificent. They said that when Queen of Sheba came to visit him, she lifted up, the bottom of her dress, because the floor, she thought the floor was water, but it was glass. That's how clear it was.
wow, that's amazing. Solomon was he had a lot of concubines, I think, didn't he?
700.
Wow, 700. But back then, Marvin, they would if he was supposed to be very wise. Correct? Am I correct about that?
Yes, he was.
Solomon
yes, he
supposed
was.
to be very wise. Well, if you were going to create a better civilization, then you would want to spread. I hate to say this, but spread your seed from those genetics. 700. It would have those genetics and go forward into the future. So there's people out there that are related to Solomon. That they have the genetics of Solomon.
Right.
That are here today.
Dude from Texas, hey Christine, dude from Texas want to know how can they find your podcast and your show?
It's our show is called Recalling the Encounters, and it's on. I've downloaded it on YouTube, and then we've got a Facebook page. It's called Recalling the Encounters, and it's just what it is people call in with ghost stories and aliens and just everything. We just cover it all. Just kind of like what we're doing tonight.
That's what's up.
And we're going to try to do them. We were doing them on a Wednesday at 8 o'clock, but I think we're going to change because you do yours on Wednesday, don't you, Marvin? Mm-hmm. Are you doing yours on Wednesdays?
Yes.
That's your main night, isn't it?
Yeah. That was our main night anyway, Wednesdays and Saturdays.
Okay, Wednesdays and Saturdays. I'm thinking maybe we're going to need to change to like a Tuesday, maybe a Tuesday, Thursday, if we do it 2 days a week. But we're just doing it 1 day a week.
Okay.
But it's
perfect.
And we'd like to have you on it sometime, Marvin, if you come on there, because we're gonna share. I shot Vic's name out there and let everybody know that was listening to us, which isn't very many right now because it's just getting started. But I tried to plug Vic and his show because there was an encounter that a guy that I was talking to. You remember the guy in Tennessee where the preacher was running alongside the car and put his hand in the window, and he was scared. The guy was driving. You know what I'm talking about? I think it was like episode 314 or something like that. But anyway, this guy that I was telling you about that had seen the two Bigfoot, and then he's seen a mantis creature that basically, he said it just like walked away from him, and he said it looked like it walked through a invisible doorway and just disappeared. Anyway, he was saying that he had another encounter where he was, him and his buddies were out camping, and he said they were out a good ways, and he needed to go back to his house for something, but it was like a half a mile or a mile walk that he had to walk. But he said where he was walking in this field, and he said it was pitch black. He couldn't see anything, and he didn't have a flashlight or anything, but he said it was like a pine tree row that he was walking alongside of, and he was afraid to walk into the pine tree, so he was just trying to stay right along the edge. And he said this thing, whatever it was, he never said he saw it, but it came running up behind him, and he said it chased him right down along the edge of that pine row, and he said he's running in the dark as fast as he can, just hoping that he doesn't hit the tree. And he said he stumbled and fell, and he said as soon as he hit the ground, he said he rolled and he bounced up, and he said he let out a war whoop and turned around to face this thing and thought, well, this is it, I'm going to die. And the thing just stopped, and it didn't make any noise. And he said it was so eerie, even just standing there in the dark, waiting for this thing to attack him, but it never did. And then he just finally, when this thing stopped running after him, he turned around and ran, and he could see this like a security light on this guy's house, and he just made a beeline for it as fast as he could get it. But he said that thing was so close on him, he said it was like he could feel it breathing down his neck. And he said it was huge.
Wow.
And I don't know how he did it. That would have just been horrific, especially in the pitch black. You know, when you can't see, not having a flashlight or anything. But he could hear it. He could hear it and feel it breathing right down the back of his neck. He said the hair on his body stood up. Could you imagine that, Marvin?
I'm sure it did. I don't want nothing that close to me.
you and me both, Marvin. I'd had to go home and change underwear.
Mm-hmm. Tell me about it. I don't want nothing that close to me. No,
I don't either. You know,
all you're gonna be thinking about, you be like, oh man, this is the end.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I bet I can see your life flash before your eyes and everything else.
Because
go ahead.
All they gotta do is just hit you one time.
Oh man, yeah. And here's the thing. Well, this is what gets me about all these encounters, Marvin. Is these people that have seen them and they're within 30 feet, even 80 yards of them. If these things wanted to get you at 80 yards as big as they are, they would have you. They would have you in a second. They'd have you scooped up and torn up and gone in a second. But they let these people get away. It's almost like they're trying to scare you out of the area because there's something in there that they don't want you to either see or be around. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely do.
And if they're you know, like if a port, say like a portal's open and they want to keep you away from the portal, and they're the guardians of the portal, then that's going to be their job to run you out of there. I know that sounds pretty far-fetched, but it's not.
I believe all that, though, Lee. I believe that. I can't think of this lady who had a channel one time, but she caught some amazing video of Bigfoot. I mean, like coming through these portals, you could see them. It's like, I don't know how I can explain it. It's like they would be standing up on these like branches that stick out. It was like they would be standing up there. And I know they heavy, but they would be standing up there. I mean, just standing. And she had some good video. I never knew what happened to her.
Huh. Wow.
Because she kept posting it on her page. Next thing you know, she was gone.
Yeah. And you ain't talked to her since?
Ain't talked to her since. Just
Wow.
like the lady had filmed a gray Doug man walking upright. She put it on Facebook. Not Facebook, it was on YouTube. And she had him walking behind this bush. Gray. You seen this thing whole body. When she posted that, you never heard from her again.
Well, do you think they scooped her up or they warned her away from you, Marvin?
They probably made her shut her whole channel down.
Oh,
she caught this thing walking behind a bush, Lee, a gray one.
And it was good quality and everything.
The back of it, the back on this thing had to be about 3.5 to 4 feet wide.
Wow, that's huge, man. That's got some strength to it, you know, Marvin?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Wow.
That's just amazing. I'm like, wow, yo, that thing is big.
Wow.
That thing.
We're not talking about anything too controversial here, are we, Marvin? I don't want to get your channel.
Oh no,
shut down.
no. We good. We good.
Okay.
We gonna know what to say and what not to say.
Yes. It's a shame that we have to be so guarded like that. You know what, Marvin? There's so much that we could be talking about. You know.
You absolutely right. You
know that mystery of the Grand Canyon deal where they said they found the ancient Egyptian artifact? You know how deep that Grand Canyon is, and there's a river running through it. They said their water was up to the top of that at one time. Did you know that, Marvin?
No.
And if the water was up to the top of the Grand Canyon at one time, then the ancient Egyptians could have brought their ships right in there. And that would be a way that they could have got in there to put their gold or whatever. You know, they wouldn't have had to call it. They wouldn't have probably called America. They would have called it something else. You know.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to know if they talked about. I know they talked about Atlantis, and Atlantis disappeared under the ocean, or however that's supposed to be. But what do you think about Atlantis, Marvin? Do you think?
Do I think it ever existed?
Yeah, I think it did. I really do think it did.
I really do. But they saying this thing sunk overnight?
Overnight? Wow.
It's just. Some people try to say that the people of Atlantis, they the ones that might be those the mermaid people and all that. You know what I mean? I don't know, but I don't even know if they ever found the city yet. You know what I mean? I know they say they think it was in a certain spot.
There was a episode. I don't know if you have ever watched. It was a show called In Search Of. It had Leonard Nimoy, Captain Spock. He was the narrator
Absolutely.
On it. They had you remember that, Marvin, when you was a kid? They had an episode on there where this guy, he claimed that he were to somewhere, like it was off the Keys or somewhere, maybe it's even Bahamas. But anyway, this guy claimed that while he was scuba diving, he found a pyramid underwater. And this pyramid underwater had some kind of I guess he swam down in it and looked around, and it had some kind of like an altar-looking thing on it, and it had a crystal, like a crystal ball on it, or like a round crystal, and he took that thing, and he brought it up to the surface.
Right.
And, did you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. I seen that.
Yes. So, and now they're saying, off the coast of Cuba, that a Russian lady, I think it was in 2000-something, like maybe 3 or something like that, they found a pyramid off the coast of Cuba underwater, and it's so deep down under the water that it would totally rewrite the history books. And
that's crazy.
And National Geographic was supposed to be doing a documentary on it, and they shut the whole thing down. Like, they won't let, you can't hardly find anything. You can maybe find, if you go to, DuckDuckGo, you could probably look it up and type in female Russian submarine or marine lady or whatever. She is the one that found it. I can't remember her name, and I'm sorry, guys. But I've seen sonar images of the pyramids, and they look very similar to what's in Mexico, like those type of pyramids, if that makes sense. And isn't it amazing, the pyramids, how there's pyramids in Egypt, there's pyramids in South America. They say there's pyramids all over the world. Somebody built those, you know it, Marvin? And I think whoever built them were related. In some kind of a way, like socially page here. That's awesome, Marvin. We're back up and running here. Oh, yeah. Uh-oh. We're down to 9 watching.
I know. A lot of them leave and then they'll come back. But
that's awesome.
Long as they got, the majority of the show, then I'm just happy and grateful with that.
Oh yeah.
Sorry about that though, y'all. You know,
Hey,
we knew some people was gonna leave out of the chat anyway, but
yeah.
it's all good. But did y'all get the last thing what Lee was talking about?
About the pyramid with the crystal.
Yeah. We was
Ever heard about extremely loud clicking noises coming at you, filling you with terror? Me and my best friend experienced this. Is this a Sasquatch related perhaps? Iron Maiden. Let me tell you, Iron Maiden. I want to share this with you. I just did that show last night. I was recalling the encounters, and it's going to be episode 2. We haven't got it uploaded yet. We were having trouble uploading it because it got on the wrong page. But anyway, the guy told me he saw a large mantis being while he was mushroom hunting, and he said this mantis creature, what draw his attention to it was he could hear it walking, but he could also hear it making clicking sounds. And as it was making the clicking sound, it turned and walked away and continued making clicking sounds, and then it disappeared into an open. He said it looked like an invisible doorway is how he could describe it. He said he thought it was like a portal or something that had opened up, and this thing just walked through it and it just disappeared. But he describes hearing clicking sounds, and that's the first time I've heard clicking sounds. I mean, I've heard wood knocks and stuff like that with Sasquatch related stuff, but I've not heard of any clicking. I could see where maybe that Sasquatch could communicate with clicks. Is a possibility.
When you now listen to this though, Lee. This lady, right, Eyewitness, she said that and this happened in Jersey. She said she used to take her son to this park all the time, and she said for some reason her son was fixated on something up in a tree, and the son kept making this clicking sound with his mouth, like, because the thing was communicating with this kid. And she said that, what are you looking at? But he wouldn't move. He stayed fixated on that tree. She said, but when she walked over there and grabbed her son on the shoulder, she said that thing turned around and looked at her like, he said, motherfucker, you just make me sick. You done got my meal. And she said this thing looked just like a prayer mantis.
Praying mantis.
She said it looked just like a prayer mantis.
Yes. Lord, he said mantis creatures appear to be hierarchy in the alien power structure. Isn't that a creepy story, though, Marvin? This little kid is clicking.
Yeah, it was clicking just like this mantis thing was clicking. That's why I'm like, that is just crazy, though. So maybe some of these creatures and these cryptids do lure kids, to them because they know kids innocent. And they know kids Marvin, be fascinated by seeing certain stuff.
Yes, they sure are. And they fall right into that. And I think honestly, I think little kids can see things that we can't see because their mind is, and everything in their body is so brand new and everything is working the way it should work. We've been, subjected to contaminants and all kinds of stuff our whole lives. So what abilities the little kids have because they, their brain function is probably a little greater than ours because it's working like it's supposed to. You know what I'm saying, Marvin? And maybe they really can see into these other dimensions and see these beings and stuff. Like little kids talk about seeing imaginary friends. Why not? Why not?
Right.
Why not? Well, you know what I mean?
You're absolutely right. Now, Christine said that James Munder has footage of a stalking prayer mantis. You need to see if you can get that. She said James Munder. You need to see if you can get that, Christine. She said like over 6 feet tall. It would be
Wow,
good if
I
you
am
can
going
get
to look
that.
that up. I am going to look that up.
Yeah, I want to
That is,
look that up too because I would like to I would
yeah.
like to see that because like I said, I had an eyewitness here in Maryland said that, what he described, he said as a rake, because it had that pale skin, that white looking skin, you know what I mean? No ears, no mouth, no nose, but it had the wide mouth. When it had the long arms, then it had fingers that went straight into claws. But he said it had legs like a bug.
Huh. Wow.
So
I
I'm
think
like,
those rake creatures are really creepy. And
I
that
I
one
I, I do
video,
I do too.
he, you know that one video where that boy is showing his fort? Have you seen that one, Marvin? I think it's on NBTV or something like that.
Oh, and it
He's
chases
showing,
them.
yeah, it comes up the hill after him.
Yeah.
That thing was creepy, man. And if that was some trickery, that they tricked me because it looked convincing to me.
You absolutely
And that
right. But
that
you seen the
that
one
thing
with the
was,
little kids filming one in their backyard?
oh my gosh,
It looked the
yeah,
same as the one that just ran up that hill after that guy. It looked just like that.
yeah.
It was on all fours.
And its arms looked as long as its legs. Did you
Yeah,
notice
the
that, Marvin?
arms, the arms are long.
Oh my God! And that thing covered some ground quickly.
Yes,
That's
it
what I
did.
think was so disturbing about it was it was coming. It was coming up that hill in a minute, man. It was going for it.
That's the thing that get me though. You got all these different cryptids. I know they got the bump heads
Oh
with
yeah,
each other. I know they do. Because it gotta be more than one cryptid. I mean more than one rake. It gotta be like probably like a little family of them. And I'm sure that they breed just like all these other cryptids breed.
yeah. I agree.
You know?
Once it starts, I mean, it's just like they just start replicating one right after another. You know, Marvin. Once
Right.
they establish a family,
Absolutely. And
and they adapt too. Like they adapt to different situations.
and
They are always evolving.
that's
Hey,
just
yeah,
go ahead.
he was trying to call me, Marvin. I'll answer in a little bit.
Okay.
Do you want Dee to come on?
I mean she can. Like if it's still on, go ahead. I'll hold
Hey,
on, go ahead.
is it right? I don't know if I can hear. Let me answer real quick, Marvin, and I'll call you right back.
Okay. Yeah, but okay. But yeah, like I was saying, y'all, a lot of this stuff, man, it just, it just can't be explained. That's just like Bigfoot. How often do you think a female Bigfoot breed? Is it once a year? And how long do you think they carry their young?
That's a good question, Marvin. I mean,
How
is it
long?
like what
Yeah. How long do you think a female Bigfoot carry their young? Do you think it's 9 months like a human, or do you think it's lesser because of their massive bodies?
Well, or could it be longer? You know, like an elephant, the bigger.
Yeah, elephants is a lot of months,
A
but
lot of months. So maybe how much by let's see, what are we like? The average person 6 feet tall, maybe, or that's like the highest people. You know, tallest people that we have is like 6 feet tall, right, Marvin? So let's say they're 7, 8, 9 feet tall, or whatever. Add a month or two on to that, maybe that's how many months of gestation it would be. I don't really know, but that'd be interesting to find out. Like you say, is it shorter? Is it longer? Who knows? But that's a good question.
Yeah, and where do y'all have Doug Man at? Where you calling from? What state or country? Because she said they have Doug Man where she at. And I'm trying to find out which state she live in. Because we know they all over.
And who is this?
Her name
Ann Marvin?
Ann Hollowell.
Ann Holloway.
Yeah,
We
Hollowell.
have dogmen here as well. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Hey, that'd be interesting to find out.
Oh, somebody said she in the UK.
Now, over there in the UK, and if you're still listening, are you considering the hellhounds and the dogmen as the same thing, or is the hellhounds and the dogmen, are they two different things?
That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I'd like to know what the description of the hellhounds are. I've heard, that term used, but I've never.
Yeah, they say they black with fiery red eyes.
With fiery red eyes.
Yeah, so I want to know if are they dogmen? Did people ever see them stand up, or do they always see them on all fours? But they say how massive they is, how big they are.
Yes. Had you ever heard any stories, Marvin, about the dogmen back in the ancient times fighting in battles with other people? You know what I'm talking about?
I have heard about that. You know what I mean? Somebody said that they went to war with Alexander the Great until he caught a few of them.
Oh, he caught a few of them?
Yeah, so I think he caught a couple of them.
Wow.
He caught a couple of them, And I think this might have been over in India because, they said they had their own little island where they used to raise sheep. They grew spices and all this. So they definitely was intelligent.
Yes, definitely. Isn't that a wild story? It's the account of Alexander the Great and fighting, and they were fighting them in battle. Oh my gosh, Marvin, can you imagine?
Man,
fighting things
and
in
you
battle?
know what? That's why I think the government trying to make them out of super soldiers. So they don't have to worry about sending humans out there to do their dirty work.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So
many countries.
What more than to use these creatures because they so fast, they so agile. You know what I mean? They can move quick. About time you get off a round, they right up on you in your face.
Yes.
That's why they say you could be looking at one of these creatures through a scope, and the next thing you know, he right up on you.
Absolutely.
Because they move so fast.
And all those guys went over and fought in and this and that. Maybe they found some of these things over in these other countries. Like you said, maybe they captured them.
Have you heard when Dark Waters told that story about the battle of it's somewhere over in Russia when they sent that team over there and first team was destroyed by these dogman creatures, and they said they came to this cave, and up in this cave stood this dogman creature, and one of the military guys said the first thing that stood out to him is how massive this thing head was. They said they went up in this cave shooting at these things, and it's like the bullets wouldn't even touch them. That's how fast they was moving.
Wow.
Then they had to send an airstrike in.
Wow, I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that story, but that sounds like a good one. I'll have to check into that.
To seal that cave, But I'm sure they had another way out.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure they had another way out because they ain't gonna just let you, you know what I mean, just shoot them up and kill them. Because they said
Marvin,
go ahead.
No, that's all right. Go ahead.
No, they said they was dragging up these dead soldiers up the side of a face cliff into that.
Oh man! Wow! Ain't that'd be crazy to see when you're up there with your buddy and your buddy gets snatched up going up a cliff.
And it ain't nothing you can do.
And there's by something that you can't even touch. You could bullets ain't even phasing it. Like you said, the only thing you can do is call in an airstrike and shut the cave down. Or A10 Warthog, that thing.
Okay, Lee. Now, Ann said that she said the Doug man stood up from behind a tree and growled at this girl and her friend. She was so scared that she moved 40 miles away to London. She don't go to any parks or woods anymore. I
Yes.
don't blame her.
Did you see her text up there at the top, Marvin? It said it was a girl in Kent, England, that was on Vic's show, and said no, it was a dog man. Well, ain't that something? Wow, 40 miles, moved 40 miles away to London. Wow. No, thank you. That's scary, isn't it, Marvin?
Yes, it is, man. It really is.
And these people, there's too many people seeing them, Marvin. There's something to it.
That's why I say, man, these things do something to a person.
Oh,
It do
yeah.
something to a person, whether it's physically, mentally. It do something to a person, man. Will it have you
Mm-hmm.
to a point where it's like you just lose it.
Oh, yeah. Ain't that something? Marvin, do you think that there's a connection with these dogmen and extraterrestrials?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I do, because they have been seen with them. You know what I mean? Like small ones.
Yes.
They have been seen carrying them on their shoulders. Why? I don't even know. If unless they communicating with them,
Yes.
or they got some kind of pact going on, or a deal. Something, if you think about it, it just ain't right. Christine, what you mean by that? Yeah,
That's
it just don't seem like it don't seem right.
no, it doesn't.
That's
And
why a lot of people think that that they do got something to do with these Doug man creatures.
Ann, I want to ask your Ann Holloway a question here. Does she know who Simon Parks is, and what does she think about him if she knows who he is? And do you know who he is, Marvin? Simon Parks?
I heard of the name.
He talked about those mantis beings, like he had some experiences with a manid being, like he went on board a ship with them, and stuff like that. Let's see. Christine Selman says, I mean, aliens are also underground and programmed. I can see that. I definitely can see that, Christine.
But
Those dogmen, though, Marvin. Go ahead.
If you ask me, Lito, I think we got all our technology from them anyway. Some type of alien form. I think that's where our technology came from.
Yeah, I'd agree with you.
I think we done been making a deal with them, since that crash on Roswell. You know what I mean? Because ever since then, our technology just went through the roof.
Oh yeah, and we went from if you think about it, we went from horse and buggy to the car, basically cell phones in just a couple hundred years.
Christine says she knows Simon Park.
Oh, good. She said Anne says there's a little of dogman encounters in the north of England, and no, I do not know doesn't know Simon Park. Well, there you go. Yeah, Simon Parks dealt with mantis aliens. Iron Maiden knows.
Yeah, he said it. Yeah.
He talks about that mantis thing that he saw. That Simon Parks. I guess he was a politician He's over there in the UK somewhere, and I don't know if it's England or where. I don't know how they're everything's structured over there. But anyway, he won for some. I don't know if you knew this about him, Marvin, but he run for some sort of office or whatever, to like city council or whatever he was going to be. But anyway, he told the people that he had alien encounters and stuff, and the people in the news were making fun of him, and didn't think that he would win his election, but he actually won because the people believed his story. Had you ever heard that? Yeah. And then and Simon Parks, he talks on that show that I think it was his father was an MI5, which is like a version of the CIA over there, and his mom was MI6, and I'm not sure how that all ties into it. But that's some interesting stuff. If you ever get a chance, you'll have to listen to his story, Marvin. Simon Park's got a really interesting. You have to go back in the archives to see it. I'll upload a video of it on his page where he's telling his story.
That'll work. That'll work.
Great illusion. Christine says, a great illusion. We're at the top of the food chain. No, we are the food chain, looking at the missing children and people.
Yeah, that's just like that missing 411, man. It makes you think of what really is taking all these people. Because you got expert climbers that know the back of these woods and these mountains and what makes them go off the trail or start taking off their clothes, and it's just it's crazy.
Did you hear the story, Marvin, of the? I think it was a mountain biker. He went up the mountain and he went up ahead of everybody, and they were doing a mountain bike down or whatever. And he got up to the top, and by the time his friends got there, he was taking his clothes off and he was folding them up nice and neat. And there was a Bigfoot thing standing by him, making some kind of a low growl sound. And basically, they said this thing had him in a trance. And his buddies walked up, and it broke the trance. And it took off when it seen his buddies, and he was just like standing there with no clothes on and his mountain bike, and he's confused. And this thing is running up the mountain. You know what I'm talking about, Marvin?
No, I ain't never hear that.
But his buddies saved him. And, they talk about finding people's clothes that'll be neatly folded up. You know what I'm talking about? Have you heard that? I think that was in the Missing 411, where they said that they'll go to look for these missing people, and they'll find their clothes neatly folded, like they took their clothes off and just folded them up.
A lot of people say that. But that's crazy. But what make people do it in the dead winter, out in the snow?
Yes. And the guy describes being feeling like he was burning up, like he was hot. Like
maybe they doing something to him then. Maybe they hitting him with something.
Well, if they hit him with the right frequency, and his so like the molecules in his body was vibrating at a different frequency, it might make you hot. You know what I'm saying? How things move fast and vibrate, and it can cause heat to build up. Maybe the sound this thing was emitting was causing that frequency. It was making him hot, so he started taking his clothes off, and like in a trance.
Right, but what about this though, Lee? When they search your area 50 times and then come back and find that person right there on an area that they done searched so many times.
I tell you what, Marvin, that is just that just raises the creep factor way up there for me. Yes. Have you heard of a guy? His name is Butch Witowski. He's on a show called Spaced Out Radio. It's on YouTube here. He has a live. I think it's on like at midnight, but it's out of Canada. But this Butch Witowski, he's a paranormal investigator up in Pennsylvania, and he told a story about a guy that awesome. We're back.
But
okay, there it is.
But we're gonna have to shut it. All right, yeah, we back, y'all. But I don't want it to keep cutting off, Lisa. We went over the time. It was it was a good show. We got to talk about a lot of stuff. Lee, you want to tell them again the name of your page?
It's Recalling the Encounters with Dee and Lee. Recalling the Encounters with Dee and Lee.
And he gonna post it on the page.
Okay.
So we'll so everybody will know it. Lisa, thanks for everybody that show up. And thank you for being on that. Lamp of Light, Trucker Will, Ward, Lord, everybody, dude from Texas, Carlito's Way, Tom. It's so many people that was on here, and thank you for being on here. Lieutenant, thank you. Trucker, Iron Maiden, Al Santiago. It's just a lot of people. I don't want Alonzo Davis, Antonio, Christine. It's a lot of people because I can go back up and just see all the people that was on here. Adam, thank you.
Oh,
Just thank everybody that's part of the Pack family, man, for joining, coming, joining, showing up. Thanks for the 42 likes. You know what I mean? Hey, and it's a miracle, y'all. We didn't get one thumbs down. That's a miracle. It's a
hey,
miracle.
Marvin.
I'm just stoked. I'm surprised we didn't get a thumbs down. I really am. You know what I mean? I really am. I
Thank
get, huh?
I was going to say thank you very much, Marvin, for letting me be a part of your show.
Oh,
It's awesome. It's an honor to be on here with you. I just love it.
absolutely.
And I really enjoy the dog pack and all their questions, and they're really good to us. I really appreciate it. Lisa A is awesome, and dude from Texas, Ward Lord, Lamp of Light, Lisa A, or Trucker Will. Awesome. You guys are awesome. I appreciate it, guys.
Absolutely. And like I said though, Lee, on the days that you not on, I'ma definitely give you a call because we always
Okay.
love to have you on here, man, because I love having you and D on here as my co-host because y'all always
Awesome.
got something positive bring, to the pack.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'm just so grateful, man. And
Hey Marvin, this is your year and the dog pack's year, and you guys have got good things coming for you guys, and you guys are just gonna just keep shining on and just getting better and better.
absolutely, absolutely. It's gonna be our year. It's definitely gonna be our
Oh
year.
yeah.
Trust me. We're gonna get to where we belong to. But thanks again for everybody, that tuned in and that listen. I'm gonna go ahead and upload this for the people that didn't get
All
to
right.
hear it, and they'll be able to listen to it. Lisa, like I said, love each and every one of y'all, and we'll see y'all on the next live.
Take care, everybody. Thank you again, Marvin.